Brands say they care about your mental health, but what if they're just selling your own anxiety back to you? From Dove to Rare Beauty, from Headspace to Nike, they all preach self-care. Campaigns glorifying self-esteem, apps that sell calm on subscription, products that promise balance in colorful bottles. It looks like care, but it's commerce. Comfort? No, just another product disguised as healing. And when even calm has a price tag, does emotional freedom still exist? Studies show 7 out of 10 young people admit buying something believing it would improve their self-esteem. But the bill doesn't bring peace, it brings interest charged in anxiety. Every click buys you minutes of relief and costs you days of emptiness. This is peace with a price. On one side, messages that sound like hope. On the other, corporations profiting from the same void they claim to fill. You believe you're buying well-being, but what you get is anxiety repackaged. This video is for those who've realized your anxiety has become a product. If you've seen it happen, comment now, "I've seen this." And what if I could prove to you that since childhood you were trained to believe peace could only be purchased? That's the next block. You weren't born wanting to buy calm, you were trained for it. At school, relief only came after asking permission. In church, questioning was sin. At home, you heard, "The world is dangerous, better not get involved." At work, orders are orders. This conditioning didn't just create obedient citizens, it created predictable consumers. Like lab rats, we respond to clicks, notifications, and slogans. Today, brands have taken on the same role. From meditation apps to sports brands, they all offer the same invisible contract. You give me your attention, your time, your money, and I'll give you back minutes of relief. But even rest has become a deadline. Even breathing is a countdown. And when even pause has an owner, what freedom is left? The cost is clear. You pay a subscription to breathe, a monthly fee to reduce stress, installments to buy balance in bottles and screens. The price isn't only in money, it's in the time you don't invest in yourself, in the energy you hand over to algorithms that profit from your clicks. You think following rules protects you, but what if obedience is the invisible pact keeping you indebted, exhausted, unproductive? Comment the name of the last app or brand that promised to care for your mind. Then answer honestly, did they care for you or profit from you? But what happens when that obedience collides with your deepest weakness? In the next block, you'll see how your own shadow became the engine of billions in profit. There's a part of you that never shows up in smiling pictures, the part that feels guilty for procrastinating, that buys useless things to numb the emptiness, that spends when anxious, that drowns in work until burnout. This is your shadow, not the external enemy, the internal pact, the voice repeating, "You're not enough." And every time you believe that voice, someone profits. The market learned to turn weakness into product. Wellness apps send notifications at the peak of your anxiety. Brands sell self-esteem in bottles and screens. Banks hand you credit when they know you won't resist. Every anxious click is a drop of fuel feeding the machine that turns against you. And the price? Impulse purchases that become debt. Hours lost to your phone that could have been your projects. Bills piling up. Dreams frozen. The endless feeling of running without ever arriving. But here's the turn. If your pain is their raw material, it can also become your weapon when you face it. What weakens you in the dark can strengthen you when it's seen. Write in the comments in one word what your shadow is today. Anxiety, comparison, exhaustion, burnout. Naming it is the first step to disarm it.
And in the next block, you'll see how that shadow becomes a golden prison. Choices that look like freedom but are invisible chains. You think you're free because you can choose. Choose which phone to buy, which show to watch, which meditation app to subscribe to. But every choice was programmed before it reached you. The system invented a trick, turned prison into a showroom. It gives you apps that promise peace, while every notification steals fragments of your focus. It hands you cards that seem powerful, while every purchase adds a new invisible chain of debt. It shows influencers preaching authenticity while selling installment courses that drain exactly what could set you free. This is false freedom, buying symbols instead of building meaning, working yourself to exhaustion just to post status, taking photos of trips you didn't even enjoy because you're already thinking of the next bill. And the cruelest part is that the prison is comfortable. Colorful walls, friendly interfaces, labels whispering calm and balance. But the chains have no lock, because you're the one holding the end. The cost is real. Subscriptions renewed but unused, objects forgotten in drawers, hours lost in infinite feeds repeating the same emptiness. You don't just pay with money, you pay with life. But what happens when you stop feeding this prison? Today, turn off the notifications of one app that feeds your anxiety. Come back in a few hours and comment, "I felt the difference." And in the next block, you'll experience rupture, the symbolic cut that breaks the invisible contract with the marketing of your anxiety. Every golden prison looks unbreakable until the first crack. And that crack doesn't come from outside, not from a brand, not from a government, not from an algorithm. It comes from you deciding to stop obeying. You weren't only a victim, you were complicit. You signed invisible contracts every time you accepted abusive interest, infinite feeds, notifications hijacking your focus. Every time you bought peace on installments. But if you signed it, you can tear it. Rupture begins with one word: no. A short, simple, final no. If I buy to be free, I buy another prison. And that no doesn't have to be grand. Cancel the subscription you never use. Ignore an ad that promises the secret to calm. Refuse an exclusive offer that would only bring more debt. Every refusal is a crack in the invisible contract. The same pain the system uses against you can become your weapon. Anxiety that once pushed you to spend can now alert you to create. The emptiness that once made you consume can become space to build. The shadow, when faced, stops being a chain and becomes fuel.
Right now, in the comments, I refuse the marketing of my anxiety. It's not just a phrase, it's a public rupture. It's you tearing the contract in front of everyone. You've begun the rupture. Now, in the next block, you'll seal it with a visible and irreversible pact. This is not just a pact. It's the line dividing who is captive and who is sovereign. Not with companies, not with algorithms, not with banks, with you. From now on, every choice must be an act of sovereignty. It's not about consuming less or working more. It's about refusing to let emptiness dictate your next decision. It's about turning the click that once chained you into the key that now frees you. Awareness is the rarest currency of this century. Whoever owns it doesn't run in the maze. Whoever owns it is not controlled. They hold the balance. But attention, if you don't seal this pact, you'll keep paying with what's most valuable, your own attention. Final ritual. Pick up a coin, hold it tight and say aloud, "My mind is not for sale." Then comment below, "I revoke the invisible pact." Each comment is more than engagement. It's a brick in building a community free from the marketing of anxiety. A network of minds refusing to be a product. But this is only the first seal. The next one you need to see, because even silence itself has been turned into a product.